If you're always broke, but your spirit is rich, this one's for you. Divine ones. Have you ever wondered why your hands seem to repel money, like it's allergic to you, only for it to come right back, double or triple, and leave just as fast again? Let me tell you about a young woman named Grace. She was spiritually gifted, always helping others, living by faith and not by sight. Every time she got paid, the money vanished within days. Not on silly things, but on rent for others, unexpected bills and random acts of kindness. People mocked her. "Why can't you hold on to money?" they'd sneer. But what they didn't know is Grace was chosen. Money was never her master, it was her tool. And baby, tools come and go. If you are a chosen one, get this tattooed on your soul. You will spend money like water, and that ain't a curse, it's a divine circulation. You're not wasting it, you're flowing it. Because when you're aligned with God, abundance flows to you and through you. That water is currency. And you, divine one, are the riverbed. So why is it that chosen ones can't seem to hold on to money the way others do? Why does it come, bless and bounce? Why are you constantly the one giving, supporting, pouring out, even when you're running on empty? As P.T. Barnum once said, money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. Well, grab your favorite drink, sit down and watch till the end, because what you're about to hear is going to shift your spiritual mindset around finances. No more shame, no more guilt. It's time to awaken to the divine truth. You are not broke. You're blessed to flow. Stay with me until the very end, divine ones. Not just to understand your relationship with money, but to realign with your divine role in how heaven's abundance shows up on earth. This ain't just a money talk. It's a spiritual awakening. Let's dive into the 7 profound reasons why chosen ones will spend money like water, and why that's exactly what you're meant to do. Point 1. You're a spiritual conduit, not a financial container. Chosen one, let's get one thing straight. You're not broken, reckless, or bad with money. You're built different. Your soul wasn't wired for stockpiling like a dragon on a hoard of gold. You were designed to circulate divine abundance, not clutch it in fear. Spiritually speaking, you are a vessel, a divine conduit. Think of yourself as God's trusted delivery system. That means wealth flows through you, not to you to be stashed forever. You're not a safe, you're a sacred stream. This doesn't mean you're careless, it means your spiritual operating system works on faith-based economics. While the world screams, save everything just in case, your spirit whispers, give, trust, and receive again. And science even supports the power of generosity. Studies show that giving boosts mental health, creates social bonds, and increases overall happiness. But your giving, it's not just charity, it's destiny. When you share, bless, and circulate, you activate the law of divine compensation. That's when miracles happen. Have you ever tried to stick to a strict budget, only to have life pull the rug out like it's hosting its own cosmic comedy show? One moment you're proudly skipping lattes to build savings, the next moment, bam, your car throws a tantrum, your cousin's cash app dings you, and your dog mistakes your $300 headphones for a chew toy. Coincidence? Not quite. That's the universe, your spiritual accountant, reminding you you're not here to hoard, you're here to help. It's a subtle nudge to stay in alignment with your assignment. Chosen one, understand this. You're not financially irresponsible, you're spiritually assigned. You walk a path where trust in the unseen provides more security than any 401k. Your provision is on divine time, not man's timeline. That doesn't mean you shouldn't manage money wisely. But don't panic when your flow looks different. You weren't called to be a fortress, you were called to be a fountain. So the next time life rearranges your budget, smile. Heaven's just making room for the next blessing to pass through. You're not failing. You're flowing. Stay in rhythm, stay in trust. And above all, stay generous. Your abundance isn't lost, it's just moving like it was always meant to. Point 2, your purpose attracts expenses, but they're divine investments. Look, divine ones, let's get this straight. Your purpose is expensive, and not just in dollars and cents. We're talking about a spiritual economy here, one where the currency is obedience, faith, and sacrifice. You don't just swipe your card, you make spiritual deposits. When you answer the call on your life, it costs. It costs time, it costs sleep, it costs comfort, and yes, it costs money. But what many don't see is that every penny, every ounce of energy, every tear is not wasted. It's multiplied in the unseen. You're the one signing up for workshops to grow your gifts, tithing when you're barely making it, supporting others who are struggling and taking leaps of faith into the unknown. It might feel like your wallet is a revolving door, but spiritually speaking, you're sowing into fertile ground. The divine doesn't operate in broke systems. God's economy is rooted in eternal return. When you invest in your calling, you're partnering with the Creator to build something that will outlive you. And no, not everyone will understand why you're spending $500 on a coaching session or hopping a last-minute flight because your spirit told you to go. But obedience to divine instruction always brings supernatural provision. Let's be clear, you're not just spending, you're sowing. The retreats, the therapy sessions, the late-night Uber rides to divine appointments, those aren't splurges, they're seeds. And every seed has a harvest. Science even backs this up. Studies in positive psychology show that people who invest in growth-oriented activities report greater life satisfaction and resilience. That's not just data, that's divine alignment. You're not building a brand, you're building a kingdom, and kingdoms require resources. So yes, it might feel like your spending is out of control, but baby, you're watering destiny. You are nourishing the soil of your purpose, even when it feels dry. Don't be discouraged if the fruit isn't visible yet. Spiritual laws guarantee a return, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So the next time you feel the pinch in your purse, remember this. You're not broke, you're becoming. You're not wasting. You're weaving a legacy. Keep sowing, Divine One. Your harvest is already in motion. Point 3. Money tests you before it trusts you. Here's something the banks, credit unions, and financial advisors won't dare whisper. Money isn't just paper, numbers, or assets. It's spiritual. That's right. Money is a spirit, a mirror, a divine test disguised in decimal points. And before it ever dares to multiply in your life, it wants to see what's really in your heart. Not your resume, not your savings account, your soul. Chosen ones, listen closely. When you are marked by the divine, money doesn't show up in traditional ways. You might not get the standard 9-to-5 salary or predictable paycheck. Instead, it comes in wild, almost mystical forms. A surprise refund check in the mail, someone handing you cash out of nowhere, a last-minute gig that pays double what you expected. It's like the universe taps your shoulder and says, "Hey, just checking in, what will you do with this?" And just like that, poof, it vanishes. Why? Because when you live in the divine flow, you're constantly being refined. The universe, God, Source, whatever name resonates with you, isn't testing your wallet, it's testing your character. It's watching what you do when you've got just enough. Will you still buy that friend a coffee? Will you donate to someone who has even less? Or will fear grip your soul and make you hoard what little you've got? Let's get into some witty, spiritual, real talk for a second. God be sitting up in heaven like, okay, let me give them $500 and see if they tithe, tip, or turn up at the club. You laugh, but it's real. That money wasn't a bonus, it was a spiritual pop quiz. Will you pass? See, the spiritual economy doesn't work like Wall Street. The currency of heaven is purpose, not possession. When your heart is detached from material things and anchored in mission, you become a vessel that wealth flows through, not just to. And that's when the real blessings drop. Not just dollars, but opportunities, connections, resources, and peace. So next time a little extra finds its way into your life, pause. Ask yourself, is this a test? Because if you pass it, not with fear, but with faith, you'll realize the universe isn't trying to punish you. It's preparing you to handle abundance with grace. Point 4. You're wired to serve, not to save for status. Some people stack their savings to flex on the gram. New cars, designer shoes, first-class trips. It's not always about security. Sometimes it's about status. Others save because they're driven by fear, haunted by what-ifs, trying to armor themselves against a future they can't control. But you, Divine One, you operate on a whole other frequency. You don't save to stunt or to soothe fear, you serve. And that makes all the difference. Your value isn't stored in bank statements, it's stored in your spiritual ledger. You don't give to get. You give because your soul recognizes the divine currency of compassion. That's why you might look at your account balance and feel like you're not doing enough. But pause, breathe, recalculate. While others are out here counting dollars, you're out here feeding souls, lifting spirits, and planting seeds of hope in barren hearts. Psychology backs this too. Studies in positive psychology show that acts of service and generosity are directly tied to deeper levels of happiness and fulfillment. Why? Because we're wired to give, And when you align with that wiring, even if your closet isn't bursting with luxury brands, your life radiates richness. People might forget what shoes you wore last month, but they'll remember that night you dropped everything to answer their call, or that time you paid for someone's meal without a second thought. In fact, spiritual teachings across cultures, from the Bible to the Bhagavad Gita, echo one truth. The real wealth lies not in possession, but in purpose. The last shall be first isn't just poetic, it's prophetic. It flips the world's hustle upside down. In the kingdom economy, humility is high currency, and service is the investment that never returns void. So stop comparing your journey to someone flaunting material milestones. Your success isn't slow, it's sacred. You're building wealth in a realm that doesn't crash like markets do. Every time you give without expecting, every time you forgive instead of flex, you're depositing into a divine account with limitless returns. Remember this, Divine One. You may not own a yacht, but you carry peace that can calm oceans. You may not wear Gucci, but your energy makes souls feel rich. You serve not just the world, but heaven's agenda. And up here, you've always been first. Point 5, you're protected from idolizing money. Let's talk real divine ones. No fluff, no filters. In this world, where cash rules headlines and bling gets more praise than wisdom, many have crowned money as their master. They chase it like it's salvation, sacrificing their peace, their values, even their families at the altar of ambition. But you're built different. God wired your soul with a holy resistance to that trap. You may have wondered why chasing money never quite sat right in your spirit, why your soul starts to feel parched the moment your focus shifts from mission to materialism. That's not a flaw, it's divine programming. The world teaches hustle culture like it's gospel, but heaven has a different curriculum for you. If abundance had always flowed freely, you might have gotten too comfortable, too quiet, too far from your calling. That tension you feel when you're low on funds, it's not punishment, it's spiritual preservation. It's God's way of keeping your ears open to divine instruction and your knees bent in prayer. That discomfort is holy. It reminds you that your power never came from your paycheck. It comes from your purpose. In fact, research in behavioral economics shows that sudden wealth can actually impair decision-making and empathy. That's why many lottery winners end up broke or broken. But you, chosen one, are spiritually allergic to idolatry. Money can't own you because your soul's already spoken for. You can spend it freely, give it generously, or walk away from it entirely, because your identity isn't wrapped in gold but in glory. And yes, your spending might seem wild to the world, but it's because your heart was never meant to be locked in a vault. You operate on kingdom principles, not capitalist chains. You know that provision follows purpose, not the other way around. So when people look at you and wonder why you're not consumed by the grind, just smile. You weren't designed to chase paper. You were born to move mountains. Your crown isn't on display, but make no mistake, it's there. Invisible, yes, but eternal. And one day, the very things you sacrificed for your calling will return to you, multiplied and refined by grace. Stay rooted, Divine One. You're not missing out. You're being positioned. Point 6, you have a calling to break cycles of lack. Generational curses? Oh, you're not just breaking them, you're bulldozing through them like a divine wrecking ball. That's why money doesn't cling to you the way it did to your ancestors. But don't mistake that for recklessness. No, Divine One, you're not being irresponsible with your finances. You're reprogramming your entire bloodline. See, money has long been tied to fear, especially in families bound by generational scarcity. Maybe your grandparents hid cash under mattresses. Maybe your parents worked double shifts and still couldn't rest. Money was a survival tool, never a seed for freedom, never a blessing, always a burden. That's the curse. A mindset of lack, of holding tight to every coin, as if release meant ruin. But you're not hoarding, you're healing. You've awakened spiritually, and that awakening has touched your wallet. You're not spending for dopamine hits, you're circulating currency with intention. Every dollar that flows through your hands in love is a silent sermon to the spiritual realm. Poverty ends here. You're not buying to impress, you're investing in growth. You tithe, not because a preacher told you to, but because you understand universal law. What you give with joy comes back multiplied. That's kingdom economics, baby. You're the first in your family to break free from the chains of financial shame. The first to donate just because someone needed it, not because it was tax deductible. The first to invest in your mental health, your passions, your future without guilt. And that's not carelessness, that's courage. It takes bravery to spend in a world that told your ancestors to save just in case. But you're not living from just in case, you're living from just in faith. Faith that this seed money will sprout into legacies. Faith that you're building spiritual equity every time you trust abundance instead of bowing to fear. And make no mistake, the ripple effect of your choices is echoing through the ancestral line. The spirits that whispered, "We can't afford that," are now watching in awe as you say, "We can't not afford to believe in better." You are the financial shift, the wealth reset, the proof that spiritual prosperity is generational wealth. So go ahead, spend in purpose, give in love, invest with fire. You're not losing money, you're losing the curse. Point 7, money chases you when you stop chasing it. Here's the twist, Divine One. Lean in a little closer, because what you're about to hear goes against everything the world teaches about money. Ready? The moment you stop obsessing over money is the exact moment it starts flowing to you with ease. Wild, right? But here's why. When you're no longer gripping your finances with white knuckles, your energy shifts from desperation to divine trust. And that shift, it's everything. It's like the universe exhales and finally has space to move on your behalf. You release control, and in that release, the gates of abundance open. Now let's get a little metaphysical and a little practical. Quantum physics confirms that your energy, your frequency, literally shapes your reality. When your thoughts are steeped in lack, your energy attracts more lack. But when you vibrate from a place of sufficiency, trust, and joy, you attract abundance without even trying. It's not magic, it's magnetic, and spiritually speaking, when you operate in faith instead of fear, you're telling God, "I trust you more than I trust my bank account." And baby, that kind of faith never goes unrewarded. Let's talk about divine math for a second. Ever give away your last $20, maybe even reluctantly, and somehow, some way, $200 pops up out of nowhere? A refund, a forgotten check, a random blessing. That's not a coincidence. That's kingdom currency. The spiritual law of sowing and reaping isn't just church talk, it's universal truth. When you give freely, you're signaling that you're already full. And money, like energy, loves movement. It doesn't want to be hoarded, it wants to be circulated. See, money respects freedom. It doesn't want to be your master, it wants to serve your mission. When you chase purpose, money chases you. When you're in flow, it flows. That's why the most magnetic people aren't always the wealthiest, they're the most aligned. So go ahead and spend like water, Divine One. Just don't forget, your source isn't the faucet. Your source is the ocean. Divine Ones, you are not reckless with money. You are recklessly obedient. You pour out because you're designed to overflow. You release because you're trusting the refilling. You spend like water because you're connected to the well that never runs dry. So the next time someone says, "You always spending," just smile and say, "I'm just watering my blessings." Let them watch you overflow. Stay awake on your spiritual journey, Divine Ones. You are not broke, you are not careless. You are chosen. And chosen ones, we don't chase money, we channel it. See you in the next video. Keep flowing, keep trusting, and remember, you're richer than you know.